Hello, and welcome to Sideways. This week, we're talking about the way in which we form opinions about things and people without really having anything to substantiate them. Martin has another tale about dangerous animals, this time in the toilet. We incur the wrath of Duran Duran fans. Can't stop talking about the weather, which incidentally is going to be blisteringly hot today as I sit here next to the fragrant jasmine. And we pay homage to chip shops. Judgement. All right.
Here we are then.
You've got a white T-shirt on like me.
Well, I don't want to mention the weather because that would be bad.
Yeah.
White is cooling, isn't it?
Don't mention the weather.
I'm not going to.
That'd be 3 weeks running.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I'm not going to at all. So that's it then.
Yeah, okay. See you next week.
Yeah, good. I've got nothing else to say if I can't mention the weather.
That'd be disappointing if you come on here with no agenda at all.
No notes at all. It'd be unlike me, wouldn't it?
It would be unlike you. I mean, I wouldn't put anything past you, but it would be something of a surprise, certainly.
It would be a surprise to me, that's for sure. But yeah, my notes this week, well, the idea that's been on the list for a while, and I think it was one you originally sent across to me, but we mentioned it in last week's episode about judging people, being judgmental.
Yeah.
So that's what I've done my notes on.
I'm kind of judging you for talking about the weather all the time.
Well, exactly, yeah, it fits in quite nicely.
Yeah, I sort of think of you as a weather bore.
Well, you are judging me for that, and I'll come on to it as to why we do it and why you shouldn't do it, or more importantly, how we become less judgmental. So listen up.
Oh, excellent. Oh, I might learn something here.
You may well do. Well, I'm hoping you're going to weigh in with some bits and pieces on this as well. I'm sure this within your sphere of knowledge and working day practice.
Well, we'll see, won't we?
Yeah, we will see, but it is something, it's relevant because it comes up in groups. I don't expect for one moment you remember the context of why you thought about it at the time and sent me the idea, but it comes up in group, and the context there is that we feel often as addicts that we feel judged by society in general. Now, they tend to look down upon us addicts as having a sort of a moral malaise rather than it being an illness or a condition. And that comes out, and I think you'll agree that some of the, certainly TikTok, I know, and some of the Facebook videos are just filled with people being drunk in the street, and again, we know nothing about that person, we don't know what issues they're going through, but society generally laughs at those videos, and they're being constantly posted. Yeah,
talking of TikTok, and I don't know where I saw it. I saw a video recently of someone it was on TikTok, actually, someone who was a compulsive gambler who'd lost a lot of money. And I don't really understand why people post these videos, to be honest, but he was kind of tearful about the fact that he'd fallen off the wagon and he'd lost a lot of money again. So I think if you put yourself out there like that, you probably should expect some sort of ridiculous response from somebody. But honestly, some of the comments were absolutely appalling.
Well, it's very easy to be cruel, isn't it, and judgmental.
It was, very sort of, particularly on the point of it being a condition rather than just, an inability to control yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, I don't know the answer to the question, but I'm just wondering if there is ever if it's ever kind of useful and positive thing to be judgmental. I mean, obviously, if you're a judge, it is.
That is. Yeah. They make a living out of it, don't they?
Yeah, if you're a judge and you don't have a willingness to be judgmental, I think that's unlikely that your career is going to go anywhere.
I think you should rethink your career path, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But before we get too heavily into it, we had a bit of a backlash this week from a couple of Duran Duran fans.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't realise that. I didn't think they were cool in the 80s, and certainly didn't think they were cool now, but apparently so,
Well, I think that's me, isn't it? Because I was the one who was disparaging about them, I think.
You were, but you dragged me into it. I think I willingly agreed.
Yeah, I don't think you took much convincing.
No, I didn't. No. What you were saying was spot on, but apparently, we're wrong.
Oh.
And they're a great band. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago in one of our episodes, I talked about a recurring dream? where there are the tigers wandering around in my house.
Yeah.
Remember that one? Well, I came across a little story. I had a little video. There was this 9-year-old boy in Brazil. He discovered a puma in the school toilets, in one of the cubicles.
What, for real or in his dream?
Real? Yeah, no, it's an actual puma.
Do you mean a puma training shoe?
I don't mean no, that would be acceptable, wouldn't it? Because he was out playing football, apparently. He popped in to use the toilets, and there was a puma in one of the cubicles. Now, that's a bit shocking.
That's happened to all of us, isn't it, one time or another?
Well, you'd think it's less common than perhaps it is, yeah.
Oh, dear. What did he do? Run, presumably?
Well, no, yeah, but they managed to relocate it back to the forest quite quickly, and there was no damage done. But it just made me think, we've done in this section of the episodes in the past, before we start, we've had 2 from Florida. Yeah, and there's a second one from Brazil. Do you remember the first one from Brazil was the lady giving birth at a Metallica concert? I
do remember, yeah.
Yeah, so we're homing in on the dangerous places in the world, aren't we?
Yeah, so the American, the Americas, somewhere we should steer clear. Is that what you're telling the listener?
We're upsetting half of the known world just there, aren't we?
Oh, we're anxious about the safety of our listeners in the Americas. You keep yourselves safe out there.
Yeah. We don't want you to be put in there before we start episode.
No, like in Hill Street Blues. Didn't they say that in Hill Street Blues? Be careful out there. I think they said be careful out there in Hill Street Blues.
Not something I ever watched, I've got to say.
Didn't you? The theme tune was good, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't remember that either.
Don't you?
No.
Well, you should put it on the Spotify playlist.
I may well at some point. I'll have to listen to it first, see where I can fit it in.
We'd have to do an episode on having the blues, wouldn't we?
Yes, we're depression.
I've been talking to you about doing depression for forever, but you don't want to do it.
I think yes, I do want to do it. I think it's incredibly. I know when I started to look into it, and I have got some notes on it, but it was vast,
very complex.
It was quite tricky just to do a quick snapshot of it and do it justice. But
could we do a if you're feeling depressed, just cheer up? Can we do that?
Exactly. Yeah, we could judge people with depression all the time.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Carry on.
Well, I want to go on to the subject matter.
Great.
And I wanted to start with someone that's probably quite dear to your heart, Carl Jung.
Yeah. Well, Carl Jung, actually, that's interesting because he had a lot to say about dreams.
He did have a lot to say about dreams, but he has a lot to say about why we judge people as well. Mm-hmm. And it's just a simple quote from him, I think, is quite a good place to start. He says that thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. That sort of sums it up to a large extent. I mean, he goes on to say that judging is easy. It doesn't require much thinking or reasoning. Our brains are wired to make automatic judgment about others' behaviours so that we can move through the world without spending too much time or energy in understanding everything we see.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean,
it is quite true, isn't it?
I mean, that's the reason. I mean, obviously, Jung didn't know this when he made that statement, but that's essentially what social media thrives on, judgment.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much thinking goes on.
No, and I think, what he's getting at there also is that the understanding is harder, isn't it?
Yeah.
Understanding is much harder because it requires deep thinking and patience and compassion and an open mind. And I think we can't be asked not to judge, can we?
Exactly.
It's so much easier. As a default, we will judge.
Yeah, so rather than me saying, Martin, he's a terrible weather bore.
Yeah.
It would be better if I came to you and I said, Martin, what is it that makes you talk about the weather so frequently?
Exactly.
And I try to understand your kind of thought process and why you have a fixation on cumulus nimbus. And
that's right. And I can answer that is because we're currently working outside, and it's very much dependent upon how the weather is behaving as to whether we're going to crack on or not. So it is something I keep an eye on very much more at the moment than perhaps other times in the year.
You see, I've been hoisted by my own petard now because you're making a flippant point there, and I've given you an open goal as to the opportunity to go back and talk about the weather, which you've now done.
I have, and I thank you for that. I popped it in. It was an open goal. I popped it out top bins. I got with that one. Hopefully, I made you feel a little bit uncomfortable at the same time, which is even better.
Yeah.
But I go on to, there's another person that during my research I come up with, which is a specialist guy called Doctor. Doctor. That's probably someone else. It sounds like something out of a Star Wars film or something.
Well, I thought it sounded like something out of Doctor Who.
Did you? Yeah, well, we're on the same lines there.
Doctor Who and the Joctors.
It's virtually written, that episode now, isn't it? But it's. I'll go back on track. It's a Doctor, John DeMartini.
Right.
He's got a bit of a drink-related name, so I was a little bit unsure about it to begin with. I'm not sure that Martini is drunk very widely anymore. I don't even remember if I ever drank a martini, but I know it's quite popular.
I used to quite like a martini with lemonade at Christmas when I was a kid.
Do you?
Actually, I'm surprised you don't like martini because you're virtually called Martini.
Well, quite, yeah. It's like the female version of Martin, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what he goes on to say, pretty similar perhaps to our friend Carl Jung, he said that judging is simply our attempt to create a hierarchy of better than and less than, superior to and inferior to, and to define worth to everything and everyone that we meet. We have a very innate urge to be right, to be better, and to be superior, and that our binary view of the world around us necessitates us to either be right or wrong. So we tend to judge.
Yeah, it's
quite a lot in there, I suppose, but I sort of understood it when I was reading it.
It's true, and it made me think about the number of times in therapy where people will identify something about themselves, maybe a thought they have, or a thought process they tend to have, or an opinion they hold, or whatever, and they'll ask the question. They'll say, "Oh, is that good or bad?" And so they're kind of reaching for a judgment. You don't have to make a judgment about stuff. It's not good or bad. It just is. Okay. Sometimes things just are. That's what I think. That's what I feel.
That's worthy of Jung anyway on its own.
Well, I think one of the reasons we get into trouble emotionally with our emotions is because we tend to want to judge them. I shouldn't be feeling like you've heard people say that. You probably said it yourself. I shouldn't be feeling like that.
Yeah.
That's not very helpful. Just let yourself feel like that. Because then you give yourself the opportunity to kind of be inquisitive about why you feel like that. As soon as you judge something and say, "Oh, I mustn't feel like that. I shouldn't feel like that," it's like you're pressing it away. So even when we're kind of judging things that are going on in ourselves, it's quite destructive.
It reminds me, and perhaps you'd have an opinion on this. I remember someone saying to me once, someone had passed away, and they said, "I don't feel sad. I don't feel anything particularly," and we're sort of judging themselves for not feeling some remorse, or not remorse, but certainly some, all the emotions that, sorry?
Sadness.
Yeah, sadness, and all the emotions that are normally associated with bereavement. Wasn't feeling them.
It's a very good example, actually, because people do think that when someone dies, they ought to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about it, is nonsense. You feel like you feel, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, if someone dies, you think, "Oh, I ought to feel sadder than this."
Yeah.
Or, I shouldn't feel this sort of nothingness or whatever it is. This is exactly the point I was making. It pushes you away from experiencing the emotion. Let the emotion be what it is. You can wonder why it is you feel like that, but you stop yourself from gaining any sort of understanding when you tell yourself that, emotions can't be wrong. Your emotions can't ever be wrong. They just are what they are.
Yeah. And when I was doing the research, I came across a couple of theories in psychology that explain the phenomenon of judging.
Oh, God.
They were complex, to be honest. I just wanted to touch on them briefly. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to them, but
I doubt it. I'm not a psychologist. We need my daughter on for this. She probably would. The park. Yeah, go on.
Okay, we'll ask her to respond then about there's two theories. One is the attribution theory, and the other one is the projection theory.
Okay, I know more about the latter than I do about the former.
Yeah, attribution apparently is the thoughts we have about each other that help us make sense of why people do things.
Yeah, it's our assumptions about what causes people's behaviour, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And obviously the projection is sort of seeing our darkness in others.
Yeah. Yes.
Or seeing bits about ourselves in another person and we judge them on it.
Yeah, it's like, if you were to say, everybody thinks I'm a weather bore, it's probably the reality there. The projection theory would say, no, it's you that knows you're a weather bore, but you're just telling yourself that everybody else thinks like that.
Okay, so you're projecting that onto me, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I suppose we are. Yeah, it's getting very complex. But one of the ways in which this happens a lot in therapy, a lot of people say this, I'm sure, to every therapist, but they'll say things like, I know this sounds really bad.
Okay.
And then you stop them and you say, well, hang on, to who?
Yeah.
Because actually what they're really saying is, this feels bad for me to say it. So I'm assuming you're going to think it's bad. So I'm just telling you, I know you're going to think this is bad. Do you know what I mean? So going back to the point you were making before, it would be, I know this sounds bad, but when my mum died, I wouldn't really feel all that sad. It's like, that's nothing to do with how I feel. I'm not going to judge that, am I? I didn't even know your relationship with your mother. So that's a classic example of projection theory.
And some other points that came up when I was doing the research, just sort of touching on what we've already spoke about, really. But so I think they're quite important points. But when we judge someone for something, we are actually judging ourselves as the very same thing. It's just that we haven't fully owned or accepted that trait is within us yet. And I thought, perhaps we're projecting subconsciously. Perhaps we're we don't know there's a trait within us that we are judging other people in carrying out.
Now, I might be wrong. I'm going out on a limb a little bit here, but I'm pretty sure this was what I'm about to say was a theory of Jung.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he said that if you want to understand something about what sits in your shadow, i.e. the part of you that you fear or repress, one of the ways in which you can do it is you can think about the people in your life and settle upon someone that you don't get on with, maybe someone you don't like or you just don't click with. And if you can work out what it is about them that you don't like, maybe they're arrogant or, something, what will be most likely happening is that it's telling you something about something in you. So An example of that would be if I'm someone who's quite shy and I take against someone who appears to be very sort of, I think of as arrogant, what that's probably telling me is that this person who's got super confidence is reminding me that confidence in myself is not properly developed.
Right, okay.
So I'm taking against the arrogance because I'm seeing a kind of an extent and a level of confidence that I can't find in myself. So it stops being about that other person, and it's really about something that I'm aware of in myself. And it's particularly true when you, for some reason, take against people you don't know, which I think we all do. Okay. You think, for some reason, don't like that person. Right, well, if you can identify what it is about them you don't like, it's almost certainly telling you something about yourself.
Yeah, I think perhaps we can judge people on a third-party basis, can't we? Someone says, "Oh, I don't like that person," and you're more likely to join in and say, "Yeah, I don't like them either," rather than stand up for them. It's probably an easier way. And again, it goes back to that point we were making. It doesn't take much thought to do that.
No, and that's also, I think, probably about keeping yourself connected, isn't it, with the crowd? If your friend says, "I really don't like that person," you're more likely to say, "Yeah, I don't really like him either." Yeah. Even if you've got no real opinion, it's a kind of rather dysfunctional way of bonding, isn't it?
Perhaps that's what happened when we were talking about Duran Duran then.
It could have been, couldn't it? You were trying to bond with me.
And perhaps I got a sneaky feeling of liking Duran Duran, and I couldn't admit it, so I just went with the crowd.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Because if you'd been sort of still anxious to bond with me after all these years, that's got. If you don't feel able to disagree with me at this point, then there's much hope, is there? Really?
No. Anyway, there was just summing that up, which I think is what you're saying as well. That there's a quote from someone called Earl Nightingale, and I didn't bother to research who Earl Nightingale was. Sounds
like an alt country artist, doesn't he?
Yeah, I suppose he does. Yeah.
He sounds like someone who might be on the bill with Steve Earle.
Yeah. Perhaps it's just you're picking up on the name Earl, perhaps, and linking the two.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But they said when you judge others, you do not define them; you define yourself, which is really summing up what we've been saying there, isn't it?
That's what Jung was on about, I think.
Yeah. And also something else that came up, which I found was quite interesting, that judging shuts us down and prevents us from understanding the full situation, or that a new truth is out there that is not yet known. So, when we judge people without knowing their full story, going back to those TikTok videos of people drunkenly falling about the street. We don't know anything about them. We don't know if they've got issues with drink. We don't know what their background is. We judge them on this very shallow viewpoint of what we see, and other people are laughing along with it.
It's true, actually, and judgment in any relationship actually closes a relationship down, doesn't it? Because if I judge you about something, you feel judged, you will close up. You're more likely to think, well, I'm not going to share stuff with you or tell you stuff now, because if that's the way you're going to behave. So it kind of, the more you judge in your personal relationships, the more you kind of drive a wedge between you and that other person. Whereas if you keep an open mind and you're not quick to judge and you want to find out as much as you can about a situation, you're much more likely to create a constructive union.
Which fits perfectly into the next point, the next little quote, which says that through judging we separate, through understanding we grow. So that's exactly that point, isn't it? So how do we be less judgmental?
Well,
tricky, isn't it? I've got a few pointers down here, but
go on then.
Well, the first one was to be open, and before we judge, seek to understand with an open mind. Which again is looking at before you judge, find out a little bit about the situation and be curious. You've got
to stop yourself, haven't you? You've got to kind of stop that loop, because when you find yourself being judgmental, you kind of know when it's happening, but you have to kind of intervene in your own thought process and think, hang on, maybe there's another explanation here. Maybe there's something I'm not considering. And I think the other thing you need to do in order to stop yourself being judgmental is to consider the possibility that, you might be following your own agenda. Maybe you want to judge that person because for some reason it makes you feel better.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're absolutely right there. And it goes on to about curiosity, which is the same sort of thing. You remain curious. Stay curious about knowing that there's something about the situation you don't really understand. Yeah. Before you start to become judgmental, have a look, think about it, and be empathetic. And give the benefit of the doubt to the other people for their situation, because there's undoubtedly we've all got a backstory, we've all got issues, we've all got baggage, and so judging a person or people on what we see, it's the wrong call. I think that's the bottom line, isn't it?
It is. I always tell. Whenever it's my daughter particularly who tells me I'm being judgmental, I always say to her, I have to be non-judgmental professionally, so I'm allowed to be judgmental in my spare time.
Oh, I see. It's like a release valve for you.
Yeah, but she doesn't think that really stands up.
Doesn't agree. No, I don't think that's probably.
I think she sees it like the priesthood. If you take a vow of non-judgmental behaviour, then you have to carry that through life.
Okay.
It's tough.
It is tough.
Yeah.
It is tough because I don't know anyone that isn't judgmental, really. Everyone does it. And I think that it's almost, some people use it as a point of conversation. They're opening gambit with people sometimes. Do you know about him? You've seen what he's up to.
Yeah, that sort of, hey, Martin, he's a terrible weather bore, isn't he?
I'm sure people used to talk about me when I was drunkenly rampaging through the streets of Hegport and say, "Oh, you see Martin today? What a mess."
I wonder if people did. Do you think they did?
I suspect that it's when I admitted that I had a drink problem and I was going off to get detox and do rehab, and people were saying, "Yeah, well, it's probably about time."
Yeah, so when I think you're being a cock, I just tell you to your face.
You do, and I appreciate that now. I mean, it's better than behind your back, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the last point I wanted to come on to was just about self-awareness.
Yeah.
Because I think that's quite important here as well. Practice being self-aware through self-forgiveness, really. Self-acceptance and self-compassion. And the more we understand ourselves, we've talked about this before, haven't we? It's a lot more, it's easier to be understanding about other people's situation.
Yeah, because what you're actually proposing there is the best way to stop being judgmental is to stop being judgmental about yourself.
Exactly. Which is where I wanted to round the notes off, really. I thought it was quite a nice place to get to and to round off what we've been saying.
Yeah, I think just one caveat with that, though, is don't expect perfection from yourself. Sometimes you will be judgmental about yourself, or probably even other people. I think it's like anything that we talk about. You're looking for kind of consistent progress, aren't you? Don't expect perfection because, of course, if you expect perfection, that'll be another reason for you to judge yourself.
Yeah, it would.
I've failed again. I'm so useless. I mean, that sort of self-talk, which is, of course, judgmental, is of no use to anybody.
And it's not, and that comes up again all the time in groups. So certainly when someone's had a lapse, they're very, very judgmental about themselves as to, oh, I'm useless, I can't get this, and this is too difficult, and I'm not capable, and everything. All the negative comments about themselves come out.
Yeah, it's important for them to ask themselves. I know it's probably difficult for people to ask them that in group, but when you feel like that, if you've had a lapse, and you hear all of that negative self-talk, even if you're speaking it out loud, it's worth asking yourself, what is the purpose of all that? What are you gaining from saying, I'm so useless, I can't get this, it's too difficult? What is, this is too much for me, I don't have the strength, or whatever it is you're saying. Just ask yourself, how do you possibly gain from talking to yourself in that way? Because the only way you can see that that's of any benefit is that you're just giving yourself an excuse to stay, in the bottom of the pit. In
the madness, absolutely right. And I think in a group situation, it's often people say it because they want people to say, no, you're not. This is what this, and here's a sort of an answer for you, or to disagree with them. They're almost throwing it out as a line to see if they see what they're going to catch on the end of their hook.
It's interesting. You wouldn't do it in group, I'm sure, because it's not what it's there for. But when someone is kind of very self-disparaging, sometimes it's worth kind of giving them a few moments with no response, because what you're leaving them with, this is the way you feel about you. Don't project it onto me. I'm not thinking this about you. This is you. I'm saying I'm no good. I can't do it. It's too difficult. Leave them with that thought for a bit. What does that feel like? It doesn't feel great. And there's nobody saying it to you apart from you. And in that sense, I think the self-judgment aspect of judgment is sometimes the most destructive.
Yeah, it is. And as addicts, we are very well aware that we do that and find it difficult to get out of. And it can take an awful long time and a lot of effort. But once you do start to break that down and do start to have a bit of self-awareness and a bit of do a bit of self-soothing and start to like yourself a little bit more, recovery is so much easier. So hopefully we didn't go too deeply into those theories, because that would have been terribly boring. I think
we didn't actually. We managed to pretty much we essentially sidestepped attribution theory, didn't we?
We did. Yeah.
We'll talk about it in more depth some other time. I'll get my daughter on to explain it to us.
That might be better, actually. Yes, someone knows what they're talking about.
So not us.
That'd be a first on their podcast, wouldn't it? Okay, should we go on to the gratitude list then, mate?
Yep.
Do you want to go first? What would you like to put on there?
I've got a lovely mock orange.
What?
It's a mock orange. It's a shrub in my garden.
Is it? Okay.
And I don't know, I haven't noticed it previously, but this year the blossom smells absolutely amazing. And so every time I walk down the garden and smell this mock orange, it's a kind of moment of joy. It's fleeting because you kind of get, oh, there's that perfume. And then you've walked past it to pick up some dog poo or something. And
that takes you back down to earth, brings you straight back down, doesn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. But I chose it because it's kind of the epitome of something we've spoken about with regard to gratitude before, which is sometimes it kind of shows in the tiniest little things, and that sort of fleeting aroma of something as you walk past it. It couldn't be tinier. I mean, the shrub looks lovely as well, but it's really it's the smell of it. It's so lovely. And of course, the other thing about flowering shrubs is they only flower for a bit and then they're gone again.
Oh,
so they're also temporary.
Right. Okay.
So it's another, kind of emphasis of the importance of grabbing joy where you can find it.
Yeah. Good point. Good luck. I've never smelt a mock orange. I'm assuming it doesn't bear fruit. It doesn't bear fruit that pretends to be an orange.
No, I assume it's called a mock orange because it blossoms like an orange, but it doesn't bear fruit like an orange. Just buy oranges from Aldi or something.
Yeah. Well, my gratitude, or the thing I'm putting on my gratitude list, feels very much down market now. No, you've gone through that.
What is it? Scaffolding?
I'm going to say no, it's not scaffolding, but it's chip shops. Okay. So,
this is very UK centric, isn't it?
It is. Really? It is, and obviously we're all very well in the UK. We're used to having chip shops absolutely everywhere, and it was just one particular one. We was down with the Aspire to Be group We all went down to Whitstable on Sunday.
Lovely.
For a walk along the front, which was lovely. There's a group of us. There's about 18 of us. And I took a list into the local chip shop, written out as to what I wanted, etc. And they were just so polite that even though they were busy, they sorted it out for us. And even though the queue was building up when they were trying to put them all together, they weren't flustered, they weren't fussed about it. It weren't in any way. They were just polite, and they were really nice to deal with. And I've just a bit of research into the chip shop, and it's been there since 1962.
Which one did you go to?
It's the third generation of the people of that particular. It's called VC Jones.
Yeah, it's definitely the best chip shop on the south coast, I reckon.
You reckon you've been in there? Well, I've got a feeling I had used it many years ago. But it was very good. So I'm giving them a bit of a thumbs up. I'm not trying to advertise them particularly, but
you're trying to get free chips.
Yeah, I know you're talking. Yeah, next time I go down, I said, "Did you hear? We mentioned you on the podcast. We bigged you up."
To be honest, as disappointing that as this is for us, I suspect VC Jones Chip Shop is far more popular than we are. I think we probably gain more from them talking about our podcast.
Exactly.
Us talking about their chip shop.
We could piggyback on their popularity rather than the other way around. You're right.
Yeah, well, we could do some advertising for them, couldn't we? We could. You could big up their Savoloys.
We could write a little jingle. So that's it. I mean, I didn't want to add anything more to that particularly, so I wanted to go into the Spotify search, really.
Yeah.
The one I've got on there is a track called Judge Fudge by Happy Mondays.
Yeah, I don't know it, and I probably wouldn't like it.
No, well, that's they're the group that I like, but I've never purchased any of their material.
So you got a bit of a duo going on.
I have. It's a bit of a Happy Mondays, and we're recording on a Monday, so there's a bit of relevance there as well.
Are you happy?
Yeah, I am. I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go. I think this week I'm going to go for Duran Duran.
Duran Duran. Oh yeah, they're great, aren't they?
Super band.
Super.
Loved them in the 80s.
Loved them. They're still relevant. They're still relevant now, aren't they?
Yeah, saw them in the Jubilee concert the other day. Simon Le Bon doesn't look a day over 30.
Brilliant.
Wonderful they are. Don't look tired and past it in any way, shape or form.
No, hungry like the wolf.
And I'll fight anyone who says different. That'll do it. Do you think that will do it?
I think so. You've convinced me, mate. Good. I'm happy.
Excellent.
Should we wrap it up then?
I think so, because it's getting late now, isn't it? And we're going to have tea.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
See you later then.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week